So, today I wanted to talk about something that I've touched on briefly before, and that is genital preferences. This has become the new woke term for basically having a sexuality that's not bisexuality or even just having boundaries. Quite often, especially on internet, well, not even in the internet, just in general, in liberal spaces, you'll find that, particularly in relation to lesbians, saying that no, you don't want to sleep with someone for whatever reason is bigoted, and that having genital preferences, or ergo being homosexual, is a form of transphobia. And to be quite honest, I don't understand how you can hear, let alone repeat these things without realizing how homophobic it is. But if there's anything that I've learned in all of my research on these topics, it's that the people who say these things aren't exactly the most self-aware or the most prone to critical thinking. Anyhow, let's get to it.
Can we talk about genital preferences for a second? Because, it has turned into an argument of whether or not trans people deserve to die or not.
I don't see how someone saying, hey, I don't want to have sex with you, correlates to, I want you to die. I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's sort of a fear-mongering in the trans community, which I've touched on before in my video about suicide, but more to the point, they make it out like the whole world is out to get you, and that primes people, because I don't think that everyone in this movement is inherently a predator or inherently awful-minded. I think a lot of people have their own deep-seated issues, and when they're told by everyone hates you, they want to see you dead. If someone doesn't want to sleep with you, it's because they want you to die. That sets up this whole mindset that the world is out to get them, and it really just fuels more self-loathing and mental health issues than they already started out with. And let's be clear, the trans community has pretty high comorbidity with a lot of different illnesses. Pretty much anxiety, depression, ADHD, autism, pretty much every single mental illness that you can think of, there is a large overlap. So to say that this is dangerous thinking is not an overstatement at all.
Okay, genital preferences. I understand having a preference for genitalia, right?
I don't have a preference for genitalia. I am only attracted to women. That is what asexuality is. I am only attracted to women. Not men who think they are women, not men in dresses, not men who are feminine. I am attracted to women. And I don't see anyone ever going after straight people with the same vigor. You're never going after a straight man saying, I understand having genital preferences and liking a vagina, but they don't do the same shit to straight men or straight women. It's only to gay people. It's as if this movement is deeply rooted in homophobia. Isn't that something?
Requiring? That's a little weird in my opinion, but, whatever. Generally, if you're not transphobic about it, then I'm okay with you having a preference. It doesn't fucking affect me.
No, it doesn't affect you. So I don't know why it bothers you so much that people have boundaries and sexualities that exclude other people. Activism is not sexuality. Your dating pool does not have to include specific demographics to show how woke and cool you are. That's not how dating is supposed to be. You shouldn't have to have someone obligated to sleep with someone else to fulfill some kind of diversity quota. And the fact that this is a movement that's supposed to be understanding the point of consent, that we have a rape culture, that we have to work to change that. It's really funny how you guys keep perpetuating that same rape culture by insisting that it's bigoted to have boundaries and to say no and to not be attracted to people.
I'm not going to be with someone who doesn't want to be with me, But people have turned it into this debate on whether or not people should, specifically trans women, we know when we're talking about genital preferences that we're always talking about trans women.
God, everything in the trans movement centers around trans women. Literally every slogan you guys have is around trans women. You never talk about trans men. Maybe it's because, the trans men are still female socialized and don't tend to try to cross boundaries nearly as much. No, you don't see them arguing to get into men's bathrooms or pressuring, lesbians to sleep with them. Not nearly as often as you see some kind of thing happening with trans women. You don't see them committing crimes at nearly the same rate as trans women either. You just don't see the same behavior, and I wonder if that's because, gendered behavior and, the way that we are raised in a society has an effect on the different genders. Oh my God.
Because they are at most risk when this shit happens. But,
Yes, and to be honest, I'm not saying that it's anyone's fault that they get murdered or attacked or whatever, but number one, the statistics that you're referring to show that trans women are actually one of the safest demographics, period. The demographics that you're talking about are sex workers who happen to be trans, and in that case, all sex workers are at high risk of getting murdered or faced with violence. Secondly, I'm sorry, but you could practice some basic safety. If you are like, I don't understand why you would try to lie to someone, meet up with them, and then surprise them with something they're not interested in, and then what, expect a great reaction? I don't think violence is the answer there, but you're really trying to say that that's a bad reaction to have. Like, that's unexpected. That you're not going to expect someone to be upset if you said, yes, I'm a woman who was born a woman and I have a vagina, and the straight man comes and sees that you don't. I'm sorry, but use a little common sense there and maybe some proactive measures and protect yourself.
Like, trans people in general don't owe you shit when we first start talking to you. Like, oh, yeah, you thought we were gonna get together, but you learned that I have a certain set of genitalia and you don't like that. Oh, boo fucking who. For me, it's a difference of life and death a lot of the time.
Then, girly, why would you want to risk that with someone? First off, you're not, I'm sorry, anyone could look at you and see that you're a woman, number one. Two, why would you want to risk getting in a relationship with someone who might react with violence? Why would you rather gamble that and hide things versus just, for example, if you're meeting through a dating app or hell, through text, you can very easily say, oh, hey, I'm trans, and get it out of the way right away. And therefore, if they aren't interested, if they react violently, oh my gosh, you can just block them. It's a lot easier to do from the beginning of a relationship versus when you're, I don't know, 6 or 7 dates in and you're trying to have sex and, oh my god, look, there's a penis. Why is there a penis? Like,
and for you, it's a difference of, oh, I'm not going to be able to fuck or not, you know? If a trans person does not feel safe coming out to you the second you start talking, that's their business. That's our fucking business. Like, we don't owe you shit, and for us it's a matter of, will we die today or not? Please shut up.
Again, with that catastrophizing where I'm going to die if I have to admit to someone who I intend to date that I am transgender. You're not. And literally, there are so many ways that you could go about this. If you are so scared, why would you want to gamble and wait and see? Wouldn't you want to get that out of the way first when you don't know the person as well, when it's a lot easier to extricate them from your life? Number one. Number two, don't you think that we feel uncomfortable, that we feel dangerous, that we feel endangered when we end up being surprised by something like that? I ended up going on a date with a man once because his filtered pictures on his profile, I didn't look at him super hard. We get in there and I think, oh, look, there's a girl in a plaid flannel. And I text on my phone, I say, hey, are you wearing the flannel? And no, in walks this greasy, skinny white dude with facial hair. And I'm at a coffee shop around the corner from my house. My car is parked within window distance. He can see me walking out. I feel uncomfortable now because the answer is no, I'm not interested. I knew the minute that I saw you that I wasn't interested. But because you are a male, because you are not what I expected, I feel like I have a choice but to sit through this date and be uncomfortable and hope that you don't decide to have an anger issue afterwards to try to follow me home. You act like you are the center of the universe and that no one else should be taken into consideration. First off, it's not nearly as dangerous as you're making it out to be, and part of that danger lies in you surprising people when they get to the bedroom.
People are all like, oh, trans women can't be lesbians. Oh yeah? Look at my hands. Look at my hands and tell me that I'm not a lesbian.
Yeah, you're not a lesbian because guess what? We're not stereotypes. We're not tropes you can fit neatly into some nice little box. Oh, she has colored hair and plaid and short nails. Doesn't make the lesbian. Obviously, that femme girl over there wearing a dress can't be a lesbian. You think that a stereotype is what a person is. That's all your whole fucking movement is putting people into boxes and thinking that these stereotypes, these ideas are what makes that person that identity. And that's not it. The only thing that makes me a lesbian is that I am a female who is attracted sexually to other females. I am a female homosexual. And no matter how hard you try, no matter how you paint your nails, no matter what kind of tropes you try to cover, no matter how much you listen to Girl in Red or grow your hair out or wear girly clothes, you're never going to be a lesbian because you are a man attracted to women. You are a heterosexual white man, and I'm sorry because I know that hurts to hear. I know that the heterosexual white man is the boogeyman of our entire generation, but you're gonna have to swallow that tough pill because it's not going to change.
I don't give a fuck. Genital preferences? So you mean cis bodies? You prefer cis bodies? This is just transphobic. Moving on.
You call literally any and everything that disagrees with you that you don't like transphobic. I'm sorry that you cannot use your wokeness, you can't use your language to insinuate yourself into everyone's bed, because some of us still have boundaries and are still aware that homosexuality is perfectly fucking fine. I am allowed to have boundaries, I'm allowed to have my sexuality, and no matter how hard you try to tell me that an apple is an orange, that 2 plus 2 equals 5, I'm not going to give in. You can lie to yourself as much as you want. You can pressure and bully everyone else into playing your games, but where it counts, no, you can't. Everyone in the back of their head is aware of the fact that you are a man and that you are a man attracted to women, so therefore you are a straight man. And once again, you have a straight, cis man, literally cis, a straight man who presumably has a penis because of how much you like to talk about it. I'm sorry. I know it hurts to admit that you are one of the bad guys, but it's never gonna go away.
I just saw a really good video by Onyx Politics talking about how preferences for cis women over trans women is really just transphobia, just in the same way that preferences for white women over, say, biracial women, when you can't tell the difference by appearance, is really just racism.
Okay, so I take offense on 2 levels here because I am biracial. And first off, yes, some biracial girls can pass. Typically, a lot of us look like ambiguously brown. Sometimes you can tell based off of face shape, hair color, whatever, hair texture, whatever you want to call it, but you can't always tell. And here's the thing. I am not going to assume that someone is racist because they aren't interested in me sexually. We have our tastes and our attractions guided by the culture that we live in. And unfortunately, a lot of people grow up in environments that are single race, and so they grow up with this one modicum of what attractiveness looks like, and sometimes they move past that and they find they're attracted to other people and they can look past that, but they can't force it. You can't force yourself to find someone to be attractive. That's not how it works. Racism is a conscious act to see another race as being lesser than you. Racism would be if they decided to date a biracial woman and treat her entirely different than they treated their white girlfriend. That is the difference here. And again, it's this idea that the difference I swear to God, there's this idea that you can't tell. Okay, straight men can't tell when they look at a vagina that has been constructed out of an inverted penis and a colon. But I assure you, as a woman who has had a vagina my entire life, I can tell. I know what a pussy is supposed to look like. I know what it's supposed to smell like, and I know what it's supposed to do. I know how it works. I am aware of what a vagina is. And no matter how much you claim that that genital reassignment surgery it's 100%, it'll fool you. It doesn't make a difference. What's the difference? The difference is you are still a man. It doesn't matter what you do, what kind of costume you put on. Doesn't matter what clothes you wear. Doesn't matter how you talk. Doesn't matter how you change your body parts. It does not matter because you're still a man. You can always tell. You can always tell because even if you make yourself look entirely different, you still treat women like shit. And that's something that you can never, ever hide.
And in the comments of that video, someone asked about genital preferences, and I think I found a good way to tell the difference. Genital preferences are fine. I have a genital preference. I'm a trans femme lesbian, but I'm also a bottom, and so I have a preference for penises.
You could have just said that you were gay. You could have ended that sentence a whole 10 seconds earlier and just said that you were a gay man.
Sure, you can, make it work, but if my sexual partner has a penis, it just makes things a lot simpler. However, as a lesbian, I'm attracted to anyone who identifies as a woman or close to a woman.
See, I hate this argument the most because are you really trying to sell to the world that you are attracted to the pronouns? When someone says, my pronouns are she, her, they go, oh, yes, those are the words that I'm attracted to. You don't look at people and immediately know if they're your type or not, if you can be attracted to them. Because I certainly can. It doesn't matter what you call yourself. It doesn't matter how many girls I see through my Tinder feed who say they're non-binary and use they, them. It doesn't matter because they're women and I'm attracted to women. And so I don't need to wait to read their profile to read they, them, or she, her to realize that, oh, yeah, this could work.
Be they binary or non-binary. Be they, cis, trans, whatever, right? So yeah, just don't discriminate between trans and cis women.
So in other words, don't say no to men and be sexually available to anyone who asks. Basically, what I've been seeing over the past, 5, 6 years is the positioning of being bisexual and more recently pansexual as the only honest to God moral sexuality. Because there's still this misunderstanding that sexuality is a choice. That's why they keep calling it preferences. Like it's something that you can choose. Like I might prefer blonde coffee, but I'll settle for pike roast because while it's a preference, it's not a hard no. It's this idea that sexuality is a choice and that it's preference based and that you can just choose to accept this other option you don't like as much because it shouldn't matter at all much, should it? And not only is this deeply homophobic, but it's dangerous. You're telling so many people that they're not allowed to say no for whatever reason. If someone just isn't your type, you don't like their hair color, you don't like that they wear glasses, they smell weird, you don't like the way they dress, you don't like their major in college, you can say no for any reason. There's no reason. You have no justification to give. You can just say no for the hell of saying no because you don't like a person. You don't have an obligation to write a 10-page essay about why you saying no to someone isn't bigoted. You're allowed to have preferences. That's not where activism is supposed to lie. And once again, someone is here basically saying that they want to commit rape by deception. Because, as I have stated on many, many occasions, I work at a rape shelter. And one of the things that they talk about is that rape isn't always just a stranger in the night, an alleyway, pushing you in and throwing a knife to your throat. Rape is any time when sex has been coerced or against your will or without all the facts. For example, if you consented to sex with a condom on, he takes it off halfway through, that is rape because you did not consent to all the facts. You didn't consent to that. And the same thing goes here. You can't lie to someone and tell them that you're something that you're not, and when you know that this is something that might change their consent. If you know, for example, I'm aware that being a radical feminist, not everybody who I'm trying to date is going to be interested because they might have an ideological difference. Number one, I don't want to date someone who disagrees on the fact that women are real in an oppressed class, but it would be wrong of me to hide that information from someone who's a Gendian in this movement, and when I know that they might say no to being in a relationship or having sex with me if I told them that. That is dishonest, and that is rape. Anyhow, this, dear viewers, is where we part. I am going to have to edit a lot for this one, mostly because I got so flustered and had so many words that I have to cut out some things. Like when I start stumbling over my words and start speeding up, and I apologize to anyone who might have a problem with me talking at 3x speed. If you guys have any questions, comments, please leave them down below. Any suggestions, TikToks, links, whatever, you can leave them in the comments and I'll find them and I'll review them. And, I love hearing from you guys and love having conversations. And of course, I remember all of your usernames. So I'll see you all next time. Bye.